Right, so welcome to the Java Council by the Virtual Jug. So who loves the Java Posse? Everyone in this room. Who loves the beer? More people than the Java Posse. Awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to show you. Okay, so for some reason Skype is just shit right now, but we're going to talk about some cool stuff like the Java Posse did. First of all, who are we? Damn. Go on, you talk through who we are and I'll fix this.
All right. So apparently who we are is, hi everyone, I'm Martijn Verburg. You might know me as a diabolical developer. I turn up here every year and I spout lies and untruths and some truths. Simon here runs the Virtual Jug. Who here is a member of the Virtual Jug? Yay. Okay, for those of you who aren't, the Virtual Jug is a virtual Java user group and they have talks and sessions probably about once a month or so. Featuring speakers from around the world like Venkat, very popular man, Richard Warburton, Trisha, other people like that. Most of you know Trisha, who is now back online. Thank you, Microsoft. Yay! Trisha is now the developer advocate at JetBrains, doing interesting talks around Java 8, 9, and how to use IntelliJ efficiently. Formerly at Mongo, but we'll forgive her for that. Am I forwarding these?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
So, a little bit about how we started then. Years and years and years ago, wow, 15 years, the Java Posse started, episode 1, they did well over 500. Next, the Virtual Jug formed. We were actually formed for a totally different reason. I never envisaged being here with a Jedi robe on. But after that, when the Java Posse split, there was obviously a lot of counseling people needed to go through. Then, the Java Council said, well, hey, the Java Posse was awesome. We can't deal with them being lost. So we actually started the Java Council. And here we are today. Stefan, where's Stefan? Thank you very much, Stefan, for giving us a slot. So yeah, that's the Java Council. That's a little bit about us. Beer! Everyone got beer? Everyone got beer, awesome. So, a big thank you to our sponsors for the beer. We have JetBrains, Virtual Jug, Zero Turnaround, and J Clarity, so do go buy their booths and buy everything they have. If you need another beer, we'll be bringing some more beer through as well. Who are you? Let's work out where people are from first. Who's from North America?
Token 2, 3.
Wow, really? Who? Oh, okay. Belgium. Yeah, quite reasonable. Europe. Oh, wow. UK.
Are they still going to stay in the European Union?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Well, I just wanted to get more specific. Africa. No one. Oh, boo. South America. Oh, a few. Cool.
Brazil.
Australia. Australia. Sam Newman? No, not here. Anywhere else? Somewhere really cold or from another planet? One person. Excellent. Let's hear a little bit more about you. Who's using Java? Who's not using Java?
Spot the Microsoft guy.
You're in the wrong place. Who's using Java 9? Trailblazers. Quite a few. Cool. Help yourself to another beer. Java 8. Nice.
Wow, good adoption.
Java 7. Reasonable.
Move to 8. Move to 8 now.
Now, who's going to be embarrassed? Java 6.
Oh, die already. Boo.
Java 5. 1. 4. 1.
Seriously?
2, 3, 4, 5. Java 1.3. Anyone? Did I skip 4? Java 1.4. One person at the back. 3. 2 people there. 3. 1.3, sorry. 1.2. 1.1.
Where's Mr. Gosling?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to start with an Ignite talk. Everyone's been talking about how great the last 20 years of Java has been.
Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not been that great. We've had some fun with Java in the past 20 years. Much like any other language who has survived this long, over time, some of the earlier decisions that were made have come back to shoot us literally in the foot, if not in some cases in the head. So here is Duke with a very safe starter pistol. Please don't try this at home. Don't show this to your kids. These slides do auto-forward, do they not?
Yes, they do.
Right, so first of all, Java, like any good programming language, should be able to rely on its numeracy. As you can see here, Big Decimal has a classic example of how it can add two simple numbers correctly. Of course, using the string constructor works because that's obvious. You can rely on date and time in Java as well. Here you have a quite clear, sensible syntax to create a year, month, day. Of course, they decide to index month differently. Java also decides that dates start from 1900s. Why? Lost in the mists of time. Boxing and unboxing. Who here likes using boxing and unboxing? As you can see here with collections, it is always consistent, always reliable, always gives you the same answer. Sad times. More about unboxing. Clearly, when you have two numbers and you want to check that they're equal, that sometimes is true. Sometimes if you use the devil's number, it's false. And of course, when you go back to a number, it's true. And at this point, I start thinking, why am I even using this language? It can't add up numbers correctly. Can't even get date and time right. It's got no idea what equality even means. I think I might just go to JavaScript, because that's a sane language. Of course, we have some reserved words, which are entirely sensible in Java. Fun trick to have with your juniors is to make sure you put the \u inside your variable names to freak them out. Always good fun. This one really gets my goat. And every year, I propose the world's smallest JEP to rename null pointer to null reference exception, and year after year, Joe Darcy tells me no. Good developers avoid nulls. So, naturally you'd assume that the Java and Collections library helps support this correctly. No. Is this going to improve in 9? I don't know. Probably not. Of course, you need to be able to declare what your return type is in Java, and you can return all the sensible things like a primitive, an object, a collection, or if you're really keen, you can return a multi-dimensional array, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's not quite as bad as JavaScript, though, where you just get not a number as a result. Or Ruby, where you'd get -1. I don't know, is Charlie Nutter here? Terrible. So we thought we were done with boxing, but boxing still continues to make great consistent sense in Java. You, of course, want to check whether, R is true or not, and all of a sudden you get a numeric value. Why? Who knows? But we're going to have Mark Reinhold on later, and he's going to explain why. Arrays naturally are a first-class citizen in any good language, as they are in Java. You can, of course, sort an array until the compiler tells you to piss off. Groovy lets you do this, thank goodness. Switch statements also make sense in Java. Somewhere, someone missed a trick in the Java language specification here, and I have seen one of our customers use this in their actual source code. What it actually was ever going to do, I have no idea, but it is legal code. So at this point, we have to ask the Java language designers, what on earth were you smoking when you were designing this language? What is going on? Luckily, with Java 9 onwards, they're bringing in modularity, so we can get rid of some of the crazier libraries going forwards. I don't know what we're going to do about the core language in the VM, though. I guess we'll just have to let John Rose and co. get on with it. Getting back to numbers. Java is very good at multiplying numbers and giving you the correct answer. Try this on a calculator on your phone. You'll see that Java is correct and your phone is not. That type of thing is especially good in financial trading systems. Equality, again, we'll go back to equality in Java. Things are always true in Java, whether you're less than a value or whether you're equal to a value. Maybe even sometimes if you're greater than a value. Who knows? It's always true. And of course, Java has logging. Who here has written their own logging framework? Because you have to, because it's so bad. When you see things like finer, finest, finally, finest, it really does make you wonder what the heck is going on. Terrible. So in conclusion, although Java has had a rich history of trying to make us more productive, there are still lots and lots and lots of bugbears in the language. I haven't even touched on generics. But we're going to reify those in Java 13, so we're going to be okay. A quick thank you to all of the people that I contacted in the past 3 or 4 weeks and blatantly stole their fun little blog posts and Java puzzlers, so on and so forth. And that is 20 years of Java WAT.
Very nice. Okay, so next, let's invite Mark Reinhold onto the stage.
Hope you can remember the questions.
So,
Well, we'll try it out. Has he got a handheld mic?
I've got a hand mic.
Now, do we throw this? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Maybe we should have these, I don't know. So, Mark. Questions. What do you do at Oracle and Mark?
Hello. I have a feeling I'm going to regret this.
I have a feeling this is the last time you're going to be on the Java Council, unfortunately.
You know, I may be looking for a new job soon.
I'll actually stand on the other side as well. The way it doesn't look like we're flanking the poor guy.
Yeah.
It's a bit unfair, isn't it?
So, Mark, your role at Oracle.
Yep. I work at Oracle. I work on Java. It's more or less the same job I had at Sun before the acquisition, but with much better funding.
So how has life how has life changed from Sun to Oracle?
There's much better funding. There is funding. Well, you know, Oracle and Sun, very different companies, very different cultures. You know, some of the Sun culture has slowly infected parts of the Oracle culture, as happens in any kind of acquisition. In some ways, yeah, I know Oracle has a certain reputation, but as a business, I have to say it's run much better than Sun ever was.
That's very true.
Which is why Oracle is still around and, well, Sun is not. I mean, there were things I loved about Sun, there were things that were frustrating about Sun. There are things that are frustrating about Oracle, but, you know, that's true in any large organization, whether it's for profit or not.
Yeah, it is fair to say that we've certainly noticed that the amount of resource being poured into Java is huge compared to the Sun days. It's
Oh yeah, I mean, in the early days, Sun poured a lot in, but you know, over the years it dwindled, and especially at the end, it was sad.
you had Notepad or Vim to work with on an old Windows desktop, and that was it.
Well, something like that.
So how did you actually get into Java in the first place? What was it that made you decide that Java was going to be the thing you're going to work on for your basically most of your career?
Well, I was never so silly to think that, okay, I'm choosing this now and I'm going to do this for the rest of my career, right? It's worked out that way, which is kind of nice. So I'm actually a refugee from academia. Well, at this point, maybe refugee is the wrong word, but no, I did the academic PhD thing at MIT, and I was doing language research, and I had this postdoc position that was good for a couple of years, and then wasn't working out. I saw Java from the outside when it was 0.9 Alpha 1 or something that they shipped, and it only ran on Solaris Spark. So I found a Solaris Spark machine and played with it a little bit and said, oh, well, yeah, that's sort of cute, whatever. I had a connection with James Gosling, oddly enough. How many people have ever used Gosling Emacs?
just James Gosling at the back.
No, he's not actually here. Yeah, so James, one of the many hacks he did when he was a grad student at MIT, CMU, sorry, is he decided to write his own Emacs with his own
Because that's just what you do for fun.
Because whatever, and it had a certain amount of popularity. When I was an undergrad, I ported that. It was originally written for Solaris and other Unixes. I ported it, and this is going to sound really antique. I ported it to Vax VMS.
Ooh, nice.
And so back in the day, James and I shared many emails over what was then called the ARPANET for you young kids. 300 baud in each direction if you're lucky, whatever. About the porting stuff, and yeah, it was a long time ago. But anyway, so I was, I kind of knew James was aware, and okay, he was involved in this. I knew it. He had worked on news at Sun, which was a really attractive company to go work for at the time. But anyway, what question was I answering? How did I get involved in Java? Right,
yeah.
right. So I had this postdoc position, wasn't really working out, and then I very quickly developed personal reasons to be out in California. This position was in New Jersey, because the woman who's now been my wife for all those years moved out there before I did, and we had just anyway. So I quit the postdoc thing in New Jersey. Got on a plane. It was boom time. This was May of 1996 in Silicon Valley. It was this huge boom. If you think 2000 was a boom, this was a bigger boom. I knew a few people because I had done a couple of summer internships. It wasn't like I was not highly networked. I made a few inquiries, and within a week I had a dozen interviews, including an interview at Oracle.
So you talked about the bigger boom. You talked about the bigger boom. Let's talk.
Sorry. I just have to finish the story because you asked the question. And it's funny. I remember going to this interview at Oracle. Walking into the towers, and they wanted people with language expertise to work on PL SQL. Still a revenue generating product.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Little did I know, 18 years later, I would wind up working there. But yeah, that's how I got into Java. It looked like a cool thing to work on. James was there. When I did all these, I wound up doing probably 15, 20 interviews. I always had in mind, well, yeah, if Sun hires me, that would be like the thing to do, because I'm just, I've always been deeply interested in designing languages and platforms, and to me, that's only really interesting if you have a user community using it. Being an academic, just designing a language, writing some papers about it is boring. The opportunity to work on something like this that's so broadly used, that has a great community behind it, is exceedingly rare, and I count myself lucky to have it.
Very cool.
Awesome.
So quit your postdocs, people, is basically the advice there.
So big boom. Let's talk about Jigsaw.
Non-meat sequitur.
So, Jigsaw, been in the pipeline for a while,
Yep.
on a train, derailed, back on the track.
Derailed?
Derailed? Slowed down.
No, just stopped for a while.
Stopped for a while.
Mostly
What would you, in hindsight, what would you do differently? What would have got it into Java 8? Or 7? Or
Time
6?
machine.
Times.
Do.
More funding? Is it as simple as just more funding?
Well, so something. I know Jigsaw has been on the table for a long time. Oh, and now wait, is it the American on the table or the British on the table? Oh, my brain hurts. Jigsaw has existed for a long time. I started working on it in 2008. Something to remember when you wonder why is this taking so damn long, or those guys are just incompetent, or what. Something to remember is Jigsaw survived the acquisition. It survived the death of Sun, and it survived the acquisition by Oracle, both of which were fairly chaotic events, extremely painful things to go through. There were times during that period where Jigsaw had effectively been canceled, but we managed to bring it back to life. Another thing to remember is when we started the project, we had a completely different set of requirements. Well, not completely, but a very different set of requirements. One of Sun's sort of death throw acts was to try to get into the smartphone business, and it was a requirement to have something like a module system that could download stuff over the air and update things dynamically, and it's very different from what the kind of problem we're trying to solve today, where we're not doing that. We're not trying to create an app store for Java. Was that a good idea? What?
Yeah, that was a very abortive attempt, luckily.
So the requirements have changed. The stock ticker symbol has changed. There were lots of politics for a few years that we had to go through, and so that is part of why it's taken a long time. Another part of why it's taken a long time is that, well, it's just a hard problem, and it's software, and it's creative work, and it's, especially when you're dealing with, you know, a mountain of technical debt, trying to find a design for basically a new foundation. You know, we're coming in with a forklift, we're lifting up the house and pouring a new foundation and then lowering it down to make the whole thing better, and also do it in a way that will fit in with the existing tools in the ecosystem. It's tough, and it's taken us time. One of the key things about Jigsaw that distinguishes it from other module systems is you can migrate to it gradually. You don't have to do, if you have an existing system, you don't have to convert everything to modules at once. You don't have to wait for all your third-party library providers to convert to modules, you know, including that one jar file that you've been using that hasn't changed for 10 years and the maintainers are gone. You can migrate a piece at a time, kind of like with generics, which, you know, I know some people don't like the erasure approach to generics, but one of its big advantages is we could use generics in the platform. You could use generics in some of your code, or all of your code, or none of your code. You didn't have to wait for libraries to upgrade to generics. You could still use generics with them, this migration compatibility feature. Coming up with that was, you know, it took a while, because it's a new way of thinking about how a module system should work. So,
for those who are interested, by the way, Java 9, the latest builds with Jigsaw, do actually already work with Maven, Gradle, Ant, and I believe even a preview build of NetBeans and IntelliJ. So you can actually start trying it out today.
You can try out Jigsaw today. jdk9.java.net/jigsaw.
Really, really do try it today, because it's quite a fundamental change. So you want to prepare for it as early as possible.
And even if you don't try the Jigsaw early access, the JDK9 early access builds, which are somewhat more stable, actually they're pretty stable. They contain a lot of the preparatory work for Jigsaw. So things like rt.jar going away, the structure of the JRE changing, those have actually all been in JDK9 for almost a year now. And we've broken some stuff, and we knew that would happen, but most of the tools and things that were broken have fixed themselves by now. Well, sorry, no, their maintainers have fixed them. Yes.
So apart from Jigsaw, what about Java keeps you up at night? What makes you get up in the morning and go, we still need to fix this?
We'll take the Yahoo toolbar as granted. We'll take that as a given.
No comment. Yeah, it would take more than a beer, and no microphone. What about Java keeps me up at night? I don't know that there really is.
It's not serialization or finalization that you just wish you could?
Sure. I mean, serialization, the gift that keeps on giving. It made another big donation just the last few days.
It did. Nice security vulnerability.
Who knew?
Yeah.
CVSS 10 in Commons? Really?
Who here still uses Apache Commons?
A lot of things do. We've been doing this case study trying to modularize Hadoop. Commons all over the place.
Wow.
Yep.
So it's basically everything.
It's there. I mean, serialization. Yes, if I could go back in time and remove one thing, I'd be really tempted to remove all the date and calendar crufty stuff, which at the time I tried to keep out, but I was far too junior to accomplish that back then. If there's one thing I could remove, it would be serialization. Serialization in the way that it was done in Java originally is just plain wrong. You know, it is too dangerous. It's too hard to get right.
There's a couple of people in the corner who've been bitten really, really badly by that one.
Yeah,
We'll talk to the deprecator later.
It's just wrong.
So one final question. Yes, no answer. Is there anything on the market that will, right now, any other languages, JVM or other, that will stop Java from going another 20 years?
No.
Cool.
There you have it. Thanks very much, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, who's heard of Just a Minute?
all the people from the UK who are
Awesome.
no longer going to be in the EU as of next week.
Yeah. We're going to bring a new game.
Yeah.
We're going to bring a new game to the Europe called Just a Minute. I'm going to introduce Richard up on stage. Richard Warburton.
Hey.
Woo! Right, just a minute. You talk for 1 minute. We're going to get a panel of people up. We're going to pull
microphone
people
again,
from
don't
the
we?
audience. Let's grab that microphone. Where's over there?
Back over here. Cool.
We'll do in a sec.
Thank you, sir.
So, you need to talk on a subject for 1 minute. That topic is going to be given to us by the audience. Yeah, there we go. Now, the idea is you can talk for that subject, but there's no deviation, no repetition, or no hesitation. What does that mean?
Well, deviation means you've got to talk on the topic which you actually are meant to be talking about. A repetition means you can't say any word twice. It's up to the judges, so I think that's me, right?
That is you.
It's up to my discretion, basically, as to what that counts. Previously, people have been banned for using the word "the" twice. We, to begin with, maybe a little bit more lenient on that. And hesitation means you can't stop. So once you started talking, you've just got to talk, 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 talk.
So when would a panelist, what would they do to stop someone?
They'll just bang the desk or shout or whatever they need to do to interrupt things
Okay.
and say, hey, you've hesitated or what have you, or
Awesome.
whatever the problem is.
So let's get some panelists. Josh Long.
Just long.
Introduce
Here's
Josh.
Hooray!
I see
Give a big
Venkat
round
on
of
stage
applause.
as well. Venkat, why don't you join us as well?
Venkat, yay!
Stephen Chin.
These guys had no idea they were coming up.
No, who
Go
else
on.
do we have? Let's get Dr. Deprecator on stage.
No, good to see you, man.
Come on, Stuart.
Come on, Stuart.
Right.
Is it okay if I bring my own beer?
Yeah, of course. we've
Yeah.
got some- we've got some-
Stephen Chin, a man of class, brings his own Trappist beer to our podcast. Unbelievable.
Do we need some music?
Fantastic. Have you got music? Ah, perfect.
There you go. This is a
Perfect.
BBC World Service, by the way. We do recommend you check it out before the Conservative government gets rid of it.
Okay, so we need a topic. Shout out some topics.
Need some topics.
IoT, what was that one? Vinyl. Fiber.
Go on, more topics. More
I just heard
topics.
Swedish.
Something in
What?
Belgium?
Serialization.
Serialization, that's a nice topic.
That's a nice.
That's
So we'll
a
start
good
with that
candidate.
one.
That's a good candidate. Yeah. So hang on. I need to actually time things, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Oh, that's my phone. Brilliant. So, you will have 1 minute to talk about the topic of serialization. And perfect. And who are we going to start with, Simon? Let's start with Venkat. You've got the microphone right by Venkat. You've got 1 minute, and it starts now.
Well, serialization at the first look appears like it's awesome idea. I can take objects and just serialize them, save them, restore them. And then once you start doing it, of course, you realize, well, this seems to be a little difficult because how do I version this stuff? Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Once you start dealing with versioning, of course, it gets to a point where you say, well, okay, I can deal with this, but then what about singleton? Well, it breaks singleton. Well, that shouldn't be really hard. I can fix that too. And then you realize that over time, this was actually created in hell to torment programmers forever.
That's pretty good. Hesitation.
So who's calling the hesitation there? You guys are meant to be interrupting and shouting out hesitation. Okay, Martin's going to join it. Okay, so I slightly failed with time there. So, Martin, you now need to take over the topic of serialization. And you have 6 seconds to go, starting now.
So one of the most fun things you can do is you can serialize to all sorts of different formats. You can serialize to file, you can serialize to a database. You can
Right,
serialize-
there you go. Your time is up. Perfect. Martin wins the round. So just to clarify again, gents, your goal is to interrupt your co-workers, shouting, hesitation, deviation, or repetition. And, the way to win is to interrupt just before the end, as Martin did.
This is
Okay?
being very polite. This is very British.
This is very British.
This is very British.
Fantastic. So, Martin won the previous round. Should we go with Stephen
Let's
Chin
go
for
Stephen
the next one? So there you go. There's your microphone. And what's our new topic? What are your suggestions, ladies and gentlemen? DevOps. What? Crashes. JavaScript, boxing. How about JavaScript?
JavaScript is a
Yeah.
good one.
So
I like that.
you have 1 minute to talk on the topic of JavaScript, and everyone else has that minute to try and interrupt on either breaking the rules for deviation, repetition, or hesitation. And your 1 minute starts now.
So I've heard about this other technology called JavaScript, which I think was just a poorly named variation on the Java programming language, which was illy conceived without actually thinking about type systems or actually thinking about how you'd actually build large-scale applications. But apparently it's caught on quite a lot for user interfaces, which is something that a lot of us have to program on a daily basis. And it turns out that when you have a language which actually has no protections, no checks, lets you do pretty much anything without throwing any faults, that makes for a great language when you're having
Repetition.
interfaces
Ooh, repetition.
Using the word language at least 5 times.
Using the word language at least 5 times.
At
That
least
is
5
correct.
times.
That is correct. Okay, so Martin, you take over the mic at this point. And you have 21.5 seconds to talk about the topic of JavaScript, starting now.
JavaScript is so popular that even our 14-year-old next door neighbor uses it to mod Minecraft. And now I'm lying. That's all I've got.
There we go, perfect. So Stuart called hesitation. Fantastic. So Stuart, you have 11 seconds to go. Your time starts now.
One thing that many people do not realize is that the history of JavaScript is that it used to be called LiveScript, and it was renamed with an agreement from Sun Microsystems, which trademarked Java, which is now owned by Java.
Time up. Fantastic. Stuart wins the round. Glorious, glorious. Okay, so should we pass over to Josh now? Yeah, for the... Fantastic. So, topic of your choice. Go on, shout them out here.
This is the last one, so make it good.
Java EE.
Unsafe GC. Anyone else? Java EE. What was that last one?
For those who don't know, Josh works for a company that uses a lot of Java EE.
It's true. It's true.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, Josh, your topic to talk about is Java EE. You've got...
Wait, can I use the word Java EE multiple times, or do I have to just say it, or what if I... How do I refer to
It basically depends upon how comedic the interruption happens to be at the time as to whether I'll allow it or not. So, yeah, you've got a...
That's for you to ask and for us to determine.
Exactly, the rules are fast and loose. So your 1 minute to talk about Java EE starts now.
The modern ecosystem of developers today is using lots of different technologies.
Fantastic interruption there, Venkat. You need to hand the microphone up. Yes, yep. You've got to be buff. Right.
Heck, do you think I want to talk about Java EE? Heck no. I call interruption on myself.
Unfortunately, that's not a rule, so I'm not allowing you to interrupt yourself. Your 54 seconds start now.
Oh, well. So I once ran into a programmer who said, I want to use Java EE. And I asked him, why would you want to do this? He said, because we convinced our boss that we can't develop an application without it. And once I understood what his needs are, we found out that he actually doesn't have any need at all. I said he could do this with servlets. Why would you need something like EJB, remember back in days? Well, that's when I realized what he was applying is a really great methodology called RDD, which stands for Resume-Driven Development. And a lot of developers actually do this. And so the entire, software technology around J2EE.
There was a hesitation there. It was a brief hesitation. Right, Stephen Shin, you've got about 8 seconds here. Your time starts now.
Defend the honor.
So I'm probably best known for doing client work, but actually I've been doing more server-side development and Java EE development.
Your time is up. You win the round. Fantastic work. Fantastic work. Cool. Are we calling it?
Yeah, we'll call that.
Yeah, thanks
Cool.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
That was our little piece of British culture we've exported to Devoxx.
There you go. Change slide.
And now we're going to do something else random. Who here has ever been speed dating? Wow. 2 people have been speed dating.
2 people, were they together?
No, they were sitting quite far apart.
Maybe arguments happen, you know.
Yeah.
So speed dating, we're going to do some speed dating interviews. Are you with us, Trish?
No, Skype.
I am, yes.
Yes.
I was muted.
You were muted. Right, we're going to do some speed dating, Trish. You're going to do some interviewing as well as us. So, who should we get to speed date? We're going to do 2 minutes each. You can talk about whatever you want for 2 minutes. It's going to be a Q&A fashion. When the buzzer goes, so do you, and we get another speaker on board. So, who's a speaker here? Where's Simon Ritter? Let's get Simon on. Simon, you can come on.
Simon, yeah,
Round
come
of applause for Simon. Now, Simon, I noticed you're standing next to the Dr. Deprecator from Oracle, which is quite interesting. Okay. Yeah, should be.
I would like to point out I'm not actually listening.
There you go.
Yeah, I would like to point out I'm not actually a speaker here. Well, I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we get you a speaker ticket into Devoxx.
Yeah. It says special guest on my badge.
Yes, that's on. 2
Did
minutes.
you go to the speaker dinner?
I did.
Don't
Follow the
sell
logic.
Stefan.
Yeah. Right. So, who's going to interview Simon? Trish.
Okay.
Cool. So, 2 minutes starts. Who's got a phone?
There's a timer down there.
There is a timer down there. 2 minutes starts now.
There's your cue, Trish.
I was going to say Trish interviews me, not the other way around.
Yeah. Go for it, Trish.
I have no idea what we're doing.
You're gonna.
We should have probably rehearsed this.
So, Trish, we're going to do it. We're going to do an interview with Simon Ritter. We have Simon here. So, Trish, questions for Simon Ritter. Let me start off with one. Simon, I hear you're between jobs right now.
I am. I'm actually
Damn
unemployed.
it, that was going to be my question.
Yes, strictly speaking, I am unemployed today. My last day at Oracle was last Tuesday. And I start my new job next week.
Tell us about your new job.
Oh, thank you.
Trish
Yes,
is good
so
at this.
I'm going
There's a delay, sorry.
I will be working with the Java community because I'm going to continue working on the Java side of things, but this time I'm going to be working for Azul. So we'll be doing things like Zing and Zulu.
Because it has a Z.
Yes,
Not a Z, but a Z.
a Z. No, it's a Z. Because
A
we're
Z,
British.
because we're British, yes.
Okay.
I'm out of questions.
I'm
I
that
don't have
interested.
beer here.
So I'll ask a question. So Mark said there's very little that he thinks about in the morning when he wakes up to think, damn, I wish that was out of Java, or I wish that was in Java.
Right.
What's your hit list?
Ooh, now that's a tricky question. I would like to see JavaFX part of the Java standard. I think that's one thing I would like to see.
Oh, a smattering of who here uses
Golf clap.
JavaFX? Oh, actually more than
Okay,
last
yeah,
year. It's
yeah,
not bad.
Yeah, well, maybe. But you see, because of modularization, it would be easy to include it, and then you don't actually have to put it in your application if you didn't want it. So people who wanted it, of which there are many, could use it, and then people who didn't need it would be able to leave the module out. But I would like to see it part of the standard, yes.
Interesting.
I have a question.
Go for it, Trish.
I want to know if you put a Raspberry Pi in your new car yet.
No, because I'm terribly getting confused with dates at the moment. I hope that my job starts next Monday and I don't get that wrong. But no, my new car is actually arriving next Monday. I thought it was going to arrive last week and I was hopefully going to drive here in it. But no, so I haven't put a Raspberry Pi in my new car yet. So we'll have to see.
I see. So your new car... your new car hasn't arrived the same way my baby hasn't arrived yet.
That would be it, yes.
That's the reason Trish is on the phone right now and on Skype, by the way. She's not just lazy. She's
Well, I'm feeling quite Spanish at the
pregnant
moment.
lady. Yeah. Cool. 2 minutes up.
Done.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, Simon.
Thank you very much.
Simon,
Who else is here? Put your hand up if you want an interview.
don't be shy.
Where's Haddy?
Haddy's running out the room.
Haddy.
Oh, I see Charlie Nutter.
Charlie.
Charlie, come on down. That's right. If we can see you in the front row, you're fair game. And because Charlie wears a hat, that was just.
So, do you want to...
foolish.
Would you like to interview Charlie?
Oh, interview Charlie.
Hope to have to a beer, Charlie.
What's that?
Hope to have to a beer.
Yeah, I need another beer. I'm out.
There
So.
you go.
If you get an interview,
Good,
you have a
beautiful.
beer.
Thank you. It's not Carlsberg, which is what they were serving at the speakers dinner. So much better choice. So.
Excellent. So I saw on the interwebs that JRuby has a brand new marketing version out there, JRuby 9000. Could
9,000,
Could
yes.
you explain the BS behind that one, please?
Oh, yes, 9,000. So 9,000, we had JRuby 1.7. We were looking for a new version. And 1.8 would conflict with Ruby 1.8. 2.0 would conflict with Ruby 2.0. It'd be very confusing. So we just said, screw it, 9,000. That's the version. We're going to go with it. And so it actually turned out, it was kind of fun, and we played with it and went with it for a while, but it turned out it actually was the 9th major release of JRuby. So JRuby 9000 became JRuby 9000, and that is now the version of the new version of JRuby.
There you go.
It's just, it worked out that way. So it is JRuby 9000, and that's the way it goes.
This is how you version software, people.
Exactly, exactly.
So the Ruby community and the Java community, to be fair, you'd say are culturally quite different, shall we say. How many times have you been lynched mobbed at a Ruby conference?
It's less and less of that. It is still a massive challenge to convince people that Java is not an evil thing and the JVM is not something they need to stay away from. But over the years, it's improved. Now we go to Ruby conferences, we do our JRuby talk, we ask how many people are using it, and pretty much everyone raises their hand. Anybody that's doing Ruby has something on JRuby in production, and so a vast part of the Ruby community is running on the JVM now and doing real work with JRuby. It's gotten much better over the years.
So
Do you find any differences between... Sorry.
No, go for it.
This delay is killing me. Do you find any differences between the Java community and the Ruby community? Sorry.
Yeah.
And you are being recorded.
Yeah, no, I have to be polite about this. Java people are very business focused, real world application oriented. Ruby folks really don't care about that kind of stuff. They do crazy new projects. They come up with micro frameworks like every other day and like new versions of Rails all the time. But that's part of the charm of the community. There's new frameworks, there's new libraries all the time. They're willing to play with things that may not be profitable, that may not be part of their job. But they can do really cool stuff in a short period of time, try it out and see what sticks. And that's one thing that I really like about going to Ruby conferences. I come here because you guys are actually doing real work, getting real production stuff out there, and looking for something that makes your job easier to do. And the Ruby folks are just throwing anything at the wall they can. It's a great combination, and that's kind of why I like working on JRuby.
I like that quote. Ruby developers throwing anything at the wall they can.
That's right.
Let's leave it at that.
That sounds pretty good.
Charlie, you had your first date and second date there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All
Cheers.
right, thank you.
Let's have one more before we do a quick panel. Who's here? Let's get Dr. Deprecator back. He seems to be working. We don't want that.
Yeah. He was trying to write some code.
Yeah, can't have that. So, Dr. Deprecator, let's get a hand mic. So, Dr. Deprecator, why are you called Dr. Deprecator?
All right, for the record, I was tweeting, not working. So,
And this is why Twitter is still not making a profit.
You were deprecating, come on.
that's right. Okay, so there is actually a JEP out that I wrote on enhancing deprecation. And so there's a brief history of deprecation is that it was introduced in JDK 1.0, a bunch of things were deprecated. This caused a huge hue and cry. Oh my gosh, you can't deprecate all that stuff. We can't do it. There's a huge amount of disruption. So basically this process of evolving the API set by introducing new things and deprecating old things ground to a halt. I aim to fix that.
Yay. Come on, people, be excited. We're going to deprecate stuff in Java, finally. Java util date, maybe could be going.
Well, most of Java util date is already deprecated. In fact, everything except getting the milliseconds offset is deprecated, but we might deprecate the rest of it at this point, especially since Java time got into JDK 8.
So, controversially, you've used the term condemned as a proposal for one of the types of deprecation. Is that too strong a term? Should we be condemning software that people have written in the past?
Well, condemned is indeed a strong word, and so it's difficult to come up with a vocabulary for saying that we are actually going to remove something. But if you don't like to use the word condemned, what I'd like to do is to say, instead we are going to refactor that with extreme prejudice.
I can't wait to see that in the Java.comments. That's going to be great. So apart from the obvious Java date, Java calendar perhaps, what else do you think is ripe for some pretty rapid deprecation, some real deprecation, condemned deprecation?
Well, so let's see. Actually, there are two questions in there. So one thing is there are some real weird things in the weird corners of the API that really ought to be removed. So for instance, there's something in the system class called get localized input stream. Has anybody ever used that? Has anybody ever heard of that? Oh, one person.
Charlie.
Oh, Charlie. Okay, don't believe him. So good. I'm glad nobody uses that because it actually doesn't do anything. So I think
it's a no-op.
It's a no-op. Yeah. So I think at some point we are actually going to remove that. Now, the problem is that there aren't very many things that we can truly remove because there's stuff that depends on them. But one thing that we are strongly considering deprecating is all the legacy collections, right? There's this whole, well, not collections, but the legacy data structure classes like vector, hashtable,
Stack, dictionary.
Stack and dictionary. Anybody remember those? Observer and observable, right? The only thing those are used is because all the AWT event stuff subclasses that I think. But there's actually this stuff in Java util that is basically useless. And in fact, there's recommendations in there. It says don't use this, use something else instead. So that's what we're gonna deprecate.
Perfect.
Oh,
Sounds great.
and don't forget, include by reference Oracle Safe Harbor statement.
Yeah.
Okay, we have time for one more interview. Thank you, Stuart Marks.
Thank you, Stuart.
One more interview, and then we'll do a blind ignite. So let's bring Josh Long back to the stage. Yeah, again. So, Josh Long.
Java EE man.
What are we doing now?
So, we're going to ask you some questions. This is a date.
Okay.
Our second date, I guess. So, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Is Spring really open source?
Yes. That was easy.
Okay.
Do you want to try a bit harder? I mean, that Jedi mind trick really didn't work at all.
Is Spring really open source?
Where's my beer? Yes.
How was that to a bit?
That was weird.
Okay, what's your favorite part of Spring?
Right now it's Spring Cloud.
Spring Cloud, not Spring
Yeah.
Boot.
Well, it builds on Spring Boot, so you get that with it. It's freebie.
Okay.
See, I answered with one answer. I got two cool projects.
Compare and contrast the JCP and the way Spring works.
Patrick Curran is the coolest cat ever, but he doesn't work on Spring. Love Patrick Curran. He's the JCP chief, right? And
Yep.
the greatest guy ever. That's the big difference I see.
That's the difference.
It's the one I care
So
about.
how about
We don't have a Patrick Curran. I'm just saying.
talking more about standards? Putting you on the spot. Come on.
I love good standards. Who doesn't? So there's enough.
Okay.
Yeah. That's fair enough. I don't think we have to go any further. Good standards rock.
So Spring Boot,
Yes, sir.
extremely popular.
It's going to be big one day.
Why all of a sudden? Like, what's made it, beat Grails? What's made it beat all the other little rapid application development frameworks that were so popular 2-3 years ago?
Well, I think Spring Boot is just, it pulls together a lot of the best of breed components out there, not just in the Spring ecosystem. And so I think it's kind of a return to form to maybe what Spring was about 12 years ago, was like, let's just, wherever we can, let's pull together these best of breed components and optimize for delivering applications. And it has an opinion, which is also different, like Grails did. But this is Java, which has a larger community. So I think those two things together, it helps. Java's awesome, right? And then Spring lets you get a lot done with this wonderful language.
And quick straw poll of the audience. How many people here use Spring? How many people here use Java EE? How many here use both? How
About
many
the same
people? How many
for
people don't realize that Spring is actually built on top of parts of Java EE? Ooh, see a couple of people. There you go. Learn something new every day.
It supports lots of different things, yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Awesome. So, Josh Long, thank you very
Thank you
much.
Thank you very much for having me, man.
Thank you.
Go be judged.
Okay, so let's talk about the next 20 years of Java to finish off. Okay. So this is going to be a blind Ignite talk. Hey, Trish.
Oh, there she is. She was hiding in the background and behind Skype all that time. See, when you become a developer advocate, you get really serious microphones and gear. So,
Okay, this is going to be quite scary, because so these are the slides that I haven't seen before.
I wrote these slides for Simon on the train on the way here. He
And,
has no idea what's happening.
and
to
these
him.
are Ignite talks, so this is like transitioning every 15 seconds.
Yes.
So I know the topic though, which is kind of a cheat for Blind Ignites, which is the next 20 years of Java. So I'm 20 years in the future now.
20 years in the future.
20 years in the future. So here we go. Okay, so
Oh, wait. Is that Skype interfering?
it's there we go. Okay,
Right.
so 20 years in the future then. What's happening? So I guess Oracle may be bought back by Sun. Who knows? We'll see. Let's wait for the next slide. Let's see what happens. Wow, Java 8 modules, Jigsaw, and OSGI. So Java modules, Jigsaw is gonna pretty much punch you in the face like this man's chin. Neil Bartlett. Oh, this is a book by Neil Bartlett and Tim Ellison. So this is going to be how Jigsaw is actually built on OSGI in Java 9. Okay, so this is oh my God, this is garbage collection, and this is presumably the G1. So garbage collection is really going to be done via the Tetris application, and they're going to be slightly different shapes. But when it fills up, that's when you get an out of memory exception. This is J shell. So yeah, basically. The REPL is going to be so big in Java 9 that enterprise applications are actually going to be written in REPLs and run straight through REPLs. There's going to be no such thing as application. Okay, and yeah, Java is going to be written in these new formats. So rather than final strings and things like that, we're going to use these new icons. That's going to be pretty cool, easy to diagnose, easy to maintain. Oh my God, what's next? Okay, so Microsoft Clippy is going to come back. They're going to take on Java and Linux. We're going to have a massive sword fight, and I imagine Java and Linux are going to win. Yeah, that's pretty standard. I think everyone knows that's going to happen. Value types, hopefully in Java 10, probably 11 or 12, but we'll see. Okay, I'm getting a fairly straight look from Mark Reinhardt there. Yeah, let's say Java 10 then. We'll see value types in Java 10.
Safe harbor agreement.
Absolutely. Right, okay. So the Node guys, the Node.js guys are going to be out to get us. The Node.js guys are going to be sniping for us. I don't know what else to really say about this picture. Tail call recursion in Java 14, so we're probably looking at around, 2025 for this one maybe, who knows? I don't know what to say about this slide, oh my God. So, okay, so yeah, we've crossed out some of those lines. That's brilliant. Excellent. Right, another slide. So control flow, oh my God, 15 seconds. Oh, continuations. Okay, so yeah, rather than make invocations across and get us returns back, we're going to do continuations and yeah, one callback and blah, blah, blah. Excellent. Okay, so in the future, rather than try and debate whether Java is the same as JavaScript, we just accept it and we actually make hamsters out of ham. That's what we're going to do. This is going to make the conversation a lot easier. Okay, this woman here is eating a hamster made out of ham. This is a virtual reality world where we make these beautiful hamsters. This is actually going to be a new food group. And obviously we're going to be using Java in many IoT things. Okay, Tom Cruise is going to be a Java developer. He had a big struggle whether he was going to be a Java developer or a Node developer, but here he's actually developing in Java. This is going to be the new IDE, JetBrains. This is JetBrains 25. Okay, yeah, we're going to have Jedi children, and they're going to be these are going to kind of be Node developers as well. This is actually how we're going to fight Node.js. Java developers are going to grow up as Jedi Knights, and we're going to attack them just like this. Oh my God, what is this? Clojure? Lisp.
Clojure.
This is Clojure. Okay, yeah. So everyone's going to be talking about Node and Node and Java, and really in the background, Lisp, Clojure. That's going to come out. It's going to bring all its brackets, and they're going to win. Tiobe. Oh, Tiobe. What everyone loves and hates. So, projection by 2035 will be 80%. Everyone will realize C, C++, and C# are cheating because they're pretty much the same thing. So they'll remove them, and Java will have a massive, oh my God, cloud for IoT. Right, IoT, everyone's going to realize IoT is a fad, and they don't actually need to talk to their fridge. So that's going to be deprecated by Stuart, sorry. What a beautiful picture. Okay, this is kind of like the Matrix, which is actually going to be rewritten in Java. And we're actually going to realize that we are already plugged in. and we are actually Node.js developers all along. And the Terminator, right, okay. Oh my God, Judgment Day. Judgment Day is going to be 2035, 20 years from now, where all of a sudden we realize Skynet is written in Java. That's me, and I will never do this again.
I thought I was being quite kind there, actually.
Okay, yeah, that was pretty good.
I didn't put any Haskell in there.
That you didn't. Okay. Wow. Blind Ignite. If anyone wants some advice, never do a Blind Ignite talk.
Time's up officially, Swift.
Officially, time's up. So thank you very, very much from the Java Council. Massive thank you to Stefan for having us here. Massive thank you to Devoxx Live, who are going to be streaming this and other sessions, which is available on Parlet YouTube.
Parlet YouTube.
A massive nod and thank you to the Java Posse for making our lives so much better over the last 10 years. If you want to hear about the Java Council more, go to virtualjug.com or javacouncil.com. May the force be with you.
And don't forget to take your bottles out with you, please.
Yes.
Otherwise, we will not be allowed to do this again next year.
So please grab all your bottles, any caps, and take it straight outside and put them straight into the keg cask things as well.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Trish.
Cheers, Trish. Oh my God.